Schauen Sie! Wer Orphan ist tough.
Das ist erstaunlich.
Schauen Sie! Da drüben!
Wow, unglaublich.
Ich kann nicht glauben. Das war's wirklich hier.
The statue.
Freedom!
The statue. The statue.
America.
Ich kann nicht glauben.
America.
America. America. A 1,000 people a day.
1,000 new people.
Families, single men, single women, children.
1,000 of them a day.
Pour into our new country.
For 50 years running, 1,000 people a day.
Pour into New York Harbor.
For a new life.
A better life.
Another chance.
To reinvent themselves.
And from all over they come.
Ireland, Germany,
Greece.
Russia.
Italy,
Hungary.
France,
España.
Denmark.
Romania,
China.
From all over the world they come.
1,000 people a day. For 50 years.
Reverend Graves to speak at Trinity Church tonight. Community meeting, 7 p.m. The Reverend Graves to speak at Trinity Church tonight. Community meeting, 7 p.m.
We have a dangerous situation in our city. Children everywhere. Orphans neglected. According to police, over 10,000 of them living in our streets. Like beggars. Like animals. Good Christian people can no longer afford to look the other way.
It's all the foreigners. They're ruining our country. Can't even take care of their own.
It's not their fault sometimes. A lot of them died in the fever epidemic.
Those slums they live in, conditions beyond belief.
Whatever the reason for their parents being gone, alive or dead, they're in our streets and we must do something.
Reverend, we do have the orphan asylums, you know. I do charity work there. They're doing a good job with those orphans.
But they're turning children away. All of them. Even the convent orphanages. They're overflowing and cannot care for a fraction of the children who are in our streets.
So we build more orphanages.
There's a better way for these children than orphanages. To give them fresh air, a clean, simple life with loving families. On farms, in the West and in the South.
You're saying farm families want them? Why?
How do you know?
I've posted notices in newspapers all over the West. There are good Christian farmers and ranchers who will take in these orphans and give them a good home and a better life.
And so the Orphan Train Project was born. The Reverend Brace raised thousands in donations for train fare for the orphans. Trainloads of children, mostly immigrant children. Orphans are neglected. Ages 6 months to 15 leave New York every week for the West to 47 states and territories for 75 years. April 1912, Orphan Train leaves New York for Port Joseph, Missouri. All right, children, board the train quickly now. Two seats. Be sure you have your bags. That's it. What's the first step? It's a doozy. Ah, Vladimir, what you doing? I told you, no extra things.
Please, Miss Tippett, it was my father's.
Where you're going, you won't be needing it. You'll have a new life.
I am the oldest of 5.
Mama and Papa were good to all of us, but Papa went to work at the docks one morning and never came back. Mama looked around and asked for him. Some say he was killed. We'll never know. But still, we're all right. We took in laundry and my brother sold papers. But then, Mama died when Gina was born. I don't know where my brothers are now. They promised they'd keep us together. They promised. And I promised Mama I'd never leave Gina.
All right, children, out the train now, quickly. That's it. Single file in front of the train now. Hurry up. Good job. Keep going. So, going on, Carl. A little strapping young man. How are you? Good evening, ladies, sirs. My name is Agent Estelle Albright from the Children's Aid Society, and I have papers on each child's age and background.
Look, George, a little baby. I want the baby, George.
Ma'am, my wife, she gave birth to a stillborn about a year ago. We've been looking to adopt a baby off these trains ever since. This is the first baby we've seen since a year. We'll take her, ma'am. Raise her like our own.
Her name's Gina. We're sisters.
And where's your mother?
She died in childbirth. We've been at the orphanages for 5 months.
She's so beautiful, George. Look at her, George. We'll sign the papers now and go home.
But I promised Mama! Oh, take me too, ma'am. I can be good. I can clean dishes and I can cook.
Sir, madam, let me handle this. Happens all the time whenever siblings get separated. Now, Maria, I know this is hard for you, but you'll have to let Gina go.
I promised Mama.
Maria, when we found you, all 5 of you, you were living in the storeroom of a sewing factory, in the filth, without any food. Without us, the baby would be dead.
Why don't they want me to?
Because their baby died. Now, if you love Maria, you'll do what's best for her and give her to these good people to raise her like their own. Here you are, Mr. and Mrs. Singer.
That was the last time I saw my sister. The train went south to Arkansas, and that's where I was adopted. By an elderly couple who had a small farm, no children of their own, and so they adopted me and gave me a wonderful life. But I would have given it all up in just a second to see my mother's face again, my brothers and sisters. For just one day, I was given a wonderful life, but I never forgot there was another me, a part of my past that was taken from me.
August 1914, New York Orphan Asylum. A train is scheduled to leave the next day for 3 cities in Illinois. The train will be full to make more room at the orphanage.
Why can't they stay at the orphanages, Mr. Clifford? Just for a few more weeks. Until I get back on my feet again. I've been sick, couldn't work. But I'm feeling much better now.
This is to certify that I am the father and only legal guardian of Patrick and Megan Buck. I hereby freely and of my own will agree for the Children's Aid Society to provide them homes until they are of age. I hereby promise not to interfere in any arrangements that they may make. Milo P. Burke. You need to sign here, Mr. Burke.
But I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Clifford, just a few more weeks. Please don't put them on the trains.
Mr. Burke, look at you. You've got consumption, sir. Now, you won't last past Christmas. Now, do what's best for your children, and I'll make sure they get good homes. Besides, when you left them here, they became ones of the city. It's best, Mr. Burke. Please sign.
And so, Pa signed the papers. We told him not to worry, that even if they did put us on the trains, we'd find a way back to him.
Here, take this, Patrick. Now write to me. As long as you have that address, both of you will be able to reach me.
Patrick Burke, get on this train now.
God be with you, Patrick.
All right, children, we are in Three Rivers, Illinois, and these fine farm families have come to give you good homes. Now file out, single file along the train.
Megan, wait, I have to get something.
Patrick Burke, get in line with the others.
But I lost an envelope. I need to find it.
You don't need no envelope for where you're going. This place will be your home now. Get in line.
Never did find that envelope with my pa's address. Megan was adopted in Three Rivers, and I never saw her again. Then I got placed with a family in Nebraska. Never adopted me, just wanted cheap labor. That's about it. It wasn't bad, though. I learned to ride a horse, herd cows, grow crops. I never saw my pa again. I wanted to go back to New York as soon as I turned 16 to try to find him, but my friends talked me out of it. Told me he'd probably be dead, so I never went. But at night, I sometimes see Pa's and Megan's faces, and I hear Pa talking to me in his brogue.
May 1915. Orphan train leaves New York for points west. Final stop, Kansas.
All right, children, we're in Germantown, Kansas, and the good families here have come to open their homes and hearts to you for wonderful new lives on the farm. Quickly now, single file, stand on the platform.
Is that one? What's your name, son?
It ain't son, and I ain't your son.
How old are you?
Not old enough to be left alone and where I was.
Clara, this one's a character. Have you ever ridden a horse? Are you hungry?
This one's 12, says his name is Chris. Chris Schultz.
Well, I'm mighty pleased to make your acquaintance, Chris Schultz. How would you like to come back to the farm with Miss Lathy and me?
He'll accept, Mr. Lathy. Won't you, Chris? I guess so. Got nothing to lose.
Am I gonna go to school and all, or are you gonna work me like a dog?
Chris, you'll go to school, do chores, and have fun just like my other two children.
You got 2 kids. What do you want me for?
To give you a home, Chris. We'd like to be your parents if you like us. But right now...
And that was it. Like I'd left my old life and gone to heaven or something. I'd been in the streets my whole life, selling papers, living in the shed behind the tenement with the other paper boys. We was a gang. And that was my life for as long as I could remember. No mother, no father.
Chris, why don't you wash up at the tub out back before we eat? There's soap out there, and the tub's already filled with hot water. Here.
What is it?
Our Chris is not a Christopher, but a Christine.
What?
She's a girl.
No.
Go see for yourself. No, wait, don't go see for yourself.
I'm sorry. I should have told you at the train station, but I was afraid
Of what?
that you wouldn't want me if you know I was a girl.
Well, how long have you been dressing like a boy?
Since I was 5 or 6. See, in the city only the boys sell the newspapers. They won't let the girls. So I dressed up as a boy to get me a job at a newsstand. I ended up one of the best news hawkers in New York. Hey, get your paper here!
Well, Chris, you can be a girl here with us. You'll go to school and live with us as one of the family.
And tomorrow we go to town and get you some dresses.
And that was the first day of my new life. My life as Christine Lathy, daughter of Arthur and Clara Lathy of Germantown, Kansas. Although I'd never been to school and was behind, I could read. I did well at Germantown High School and graduated 5th in the class of 1923. And to be loved by parents, Arthur and Clara, and by my brother and sister, Lester and Maggie, well, was better than I'd ever hoped for myself how things could be. And the orphan trains keep rolling, one every week out of New York, Boston, Philadelphia. July 1918, Indiana. Orphan train arrives in Flint Ridge, Indiana.
Gentlemen, I am Miss Velma Scott, the agent in charge of all these children, and I have ages and backgrounds of each child. And either one of these boys would be suitable loving home as you'd give them.
That's how the evening went in Flintridge, Indiana. It was our 6th stop. The Dobbs took 2 boys with them. Then there were 3 of us left. After that, the rest of the girls got placed with families that evening. Except me. Was too old, the agent told me. 15, and they think you're too old. Might run away, or steal from them, or cause trouble. I'd been at the orphan asylum since I was 2. Never knew my parents. No brothers or sisters. The matrons had a tag that was written in German on my blanket. But all it said was that my name was Marlena. And that's all I know about where I'm from and who I am. I wish they'd just left me at the orphan asylum, taking care of the little ones.
Oh, it's all right, Marlena. We have 2 or 3 more stops on the way back to New York. Come on, we'll eat some pie together on the train.
Wait! My neighbor said there was 1 girl left. An older child?
Yes, ma'am. Can I help you?
Yes. The name's Mrs. Mattie Reitman, and I'd like to take the girl home with me, if I may.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but the Age Society has set an age limit on adoptive or foster parents.
I'm a widow, to be sure, and in my 60s, but I'm well off and can give a good home to the girl.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but
Wait, Miss Scott, it's all right. I'll talk to Lady if I may.
Well, I suppose that would be all right. I'll be by the train if you need me.
I'm Marlena Breck, ma'am.
I'm Mattie Reitman, my dear. I'm pleased to know you. How old are you, dear?
15, ma'am.
And how long have you been an orphan?
All my life.
So, you're alone in the world, are you?
Well, except the orphan asylum, yes, ma'am.
That makes 2 of us. I'm alone, too. My husband died 5 years ago, and my son, our only son, Albert.
Oh, he's handsome, ma'am.
Yes, he is. Was. My son. My only boy. Died in the war. Over in France. Well, my people, well, what's left of them, are all back in Delaware. Been here since I've been 18. They wouldn't know me.
You want me to come and live with you?
I have a nice house with a grocery and fruit market. Does real well. And I want to share it with someone, Marlena. My life has had its share of tragedies and joys, and there's not a thing I fear in this world, not even death. But I do fear being alone. In life and in my dreams. Suppose all women do. Alone. On my deathbed. I don't want you as a maid or a nurse, Marlena. I'm in good health and can still afford to hire help in my shop if I want to. But to have a family again, someone to laugh with, to share, a dear girl like yourself, to love. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Miss Mattie. I know all about loneliness, too. Seems like I'd be perfect for you. A younger child might be way too much for you.
So, Marlena would like to agree to go live with Miss Reitman.
Yes, ma'am. I think Miss Mattie and I will get along fine.
Oh, you dear, dear girl. I will be a loving mother to you, to be sure.
Well then, ladies, looks like divine providence has brought the 2 of you together.
Mattie was true to her word, and we had a wonderful life together. I was adopted and became Marlena Reitman, and lived with Mattie where we ran the grocery together until her death at the age of 81. And I enjoyed a rich life of a good marriage, children, grandchildren, and friends. A life in which I would never be alone. And Mattie was surrounded by her daughter, grandchildren, and friends at the end of hers.
18, Orphan train arrives in Iowa.
All right, children, we're in Rock Falls, Iowa. The good people of this town have been looking forward to meeting you for a while now and giving you a new home. Be real nice and polite if they ask you any questions. Off now, take your bags, stand in a single file line.
It was scary that first night. I had never been out of New York until now. The day we left, we were eating breakfast that morning. The matron tapped me on the shoulder. "You're going to Iowa," she said. I looked at her. "I can't. I'm not an orphan. My mother's still alive. She's in the hospital." But there was no use arguing. They put me on the train that day. Never even got to say goodbye to my mother.
What's your name, boy?
Jacob Levitt.
Turn around. How old are you? Don't shy away from me.
13.
You'll do fine. Not puny or nothing.
And it was like that. Like I was a mule or something. She signed the papers, and we went to her farm.
Put your bags over there, boy. You'll be sleeping in the shed. Hurry up. Sit down. Sit down. Now listen here, boy. I ain't adopting you. This ain't your home. It's mine. My husband died 2 years ago, and I've been running this farm ever since with 2 hired hands. Look up at me. You work for me, and I put food, clothes, and a roof over your head. That's all I owe you. But I'll even send you to school till you're 15. School starts in a month or so, so you'll be working the crops with me each day. What'd you say your name was? Look up at me.
Jacob.
Yakwaka? What kind of a name is that?
For me, a great one. It means Jacob.
I'll call you Jake. Easier to say. Now stand up and go take your things to the shed. Hurry up!
Oy vey. I slept in the shed that night, dank and musty, and I cried. She worked me like a mule. A mule? I should have had it so good. The horse and mule had better home and shelter than I did, and not a kind word. Not one. She worked me like a slave. I felt like my people under the Pharaoh. I wrote a letter to the agency, who I gave to the hired hand. He then gave it to the mayor. He came by later that week.
Miss Stokes, ma'am, we've been getting reports you haven't been treating that orphan boy right. Folks say you never let him off the farm. Sleeps in a shed.
He has food, clothes, and a roof over his head. I ain't mistreating him. He works for his keep.
Like your other 2 boys that ran off as soon as they could, one with pneumonia. You promised us, Miss Stokes, you'd give better treatment. We're taking the boy, ma'am.
Thank God for Mayor Cregan. They put me with another family, Edward and Myra Kurtz, an older couple with a farm. Their children were all grown up, so they spoiled me. The day I turned 18, though, back to New York, back to home I went. My mother had died the year I left, I had found out. So I got asked to live with the rabbi. It was great being back home, and I never left New York ever again after that.
I was happy, but the other kids at school would hiss. You're adopted.
Even though they were nice, they were strangers. It was scary sleeping in that strange bed that first night.
I was adopted, and my new parents loved me. But the other kids referred to me as the orphan girl. Little orphan Annie, they called me.
They got a letter from New York. It was from my father. They hid the letter. I didn't read it till 12 years later.
You're loved, and you know you're loved. But it's not 100%. A part of you separates you from them.
Makes you wonder forever.
200,000 of us there were.
I went to New York after I was grown to ask for my records.
But they wouldn't give them to me.
Those records are sealed.
You were adopted. Don't dwell on the past.
That's what they'd say to anyone who asked.
But we've a right to our pasts, to our connections with ourselves, and where we came from.
And our roots are not to be thrown out like garbage.
I remember when I was little, back in New York, speaking Italian,
Yiddish,
German,
Russian.
And now forgotten, lost.
What was my last name?
Do I still have people there?
Is my mother still alive? My father?
my brother and sister who were separated from me.
But we're all American, they tell us.
A big melting pot.
And we'd all help to stir the melting pot a little bit faster.
If he were our own son, we could not love him more.
I always was, and still am glad I took that boy in and raised him like my own.
We treated her just like our own, and she gave us joy and made us proud.
No matter what I did for him, he was not happy. He was already ruined from the day I got him.
I'm proud to have been an orphan train rider.
Lots of us turned out real well.
Found good homes. Not all of us, but most of us.
Some of us even made a name for ourselves. Horace Scott, Governor of Alaska, orphan train rider.
Andrew Burke, Governor of North Dakota, orphan train rider.
William Bonney, outlaw, known as Billy the Kid, orphan train rider.
George Mahoney, Tripp County, South Dakota, homesteader, orphan train rider.
I, Hazel Romano Martin, wife, mother, piano teacher, orphan train rider.
Allison Martin Durant, daughter of an orphan train rider.
Aaron James Durant, grandchild of an orphan train rider who went to New York to ask for his grandmother's records.
Records found. Records to all riders finally opened. Lineage found. Ancestries traced.
Over 2 million Americans, descendants of orphan train riders. I, Hazel Romano Martin, proud of my family and proud of my heritages. Proud and grateful for both.
Our heritage.
Our roots.
And our orphan train brotherhood.
Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. There are loved ones in the glory, whose dear
1864 to 1929, over 200,000 children rode the orphan trains across America. The last orphan train left New York in 1929 for West Texas. All were boys, and all were adopted.